good to be back. Really missed you guys. But, hope you're all doing well. It's been a really good winter. Really pleased with our players. Appreciate the effort of our strength and conditioning coaches. The guys have worked extremely hard. They're bigger, they're stronger, faster, mentally more mature. So really excited to get back and get going starting tomorrow. So we got a good group. We got a full group. We have 111 players here. That's the most we've had in the spring by far. So excited to get going.
Mark, what's the status on your long-term injured guys, Terry, Devontae?
It's funny you say that. I had that list and I left it right on my desk. I was just texting Susan to say, update me on that, just so I'm accurate. But Terry Wilson, limited. He won't go through spring. He's doing some throwing and doing, getting his legs stronger and the rehab and all those things. Nick Scalzo, he'll be out. Devontae will be limited. Abule will be out. Isaiah Epps will be out. Nasir will be out. Tosh Dodson will be out. De'Eric Jackson will be out. So that's those are the guys that will be out or limited in some way. I mean, Devontae, he won't be participating, but again, he's going through some drills. He's going through some of the winter conditioning that we've done right now. So he's getting better, and a lot of these guys are getting closer. But as you could see there, it's a pretty extensive list. It's a pretty long and grueling season, and some of these guys had to get some surgeries in the off season.
How are you approaching that open staff position during the spring, just in terms of?
I am. I've been working through that position. As you know, it's taken some time, but I've taken my time with it. To be honest with you, I tried to hire my brother Mike and get him on staff, and that's not going to work out by his choice. Mike chose to stay. He likes what he's doing. He likes the learning he's doing and the work he's doing there with Nick at Alabama. And Mike's a big pitcher guy, so the timing of this position and the capacity that it is, he decided to stay there and continue to kind of recalibrate himself and ready to come back as a coordinator. So he decided to stay. So so I'm working through that. Shouldn't be long.
Does any of your support staff people take on a bigger role just during spring practice in terms of getting people on there, or how does that work? I guess just.
Yes.
Could not be those people be.
What I'm what I'm allowed to do, with that. So yeah, I think we're gonna. I'm allowed to move Frank Pavano in that position for tomorrow. So I will move Frank from football operations to work with the safeties and help Coach Clinton.
When you have all those quarterbacks who've been kind of injured, they've been injured, but they can do a little bit of throwing, how do you work out reps, especially with getting new guys involved like Bo and Joey?
Yeah, I think that will be the big question, because they won't get team reps. Nick will not, and Terry will not get team reps, and really, or 7-on-7. So these guys are going to be able to get a lot of work with Sawyer, Armani, Bo, and Joey. So the good thing is, we're pretty deep there, but with the two guys injured, that'll give some good quality reps for the four that are participating.
Are you still anticipating Terry will be ready by the fall?
Yeah, definitely.
Mark, you want to keep Josh Pascal outside linebacker or move him down?
We're gonna move him back in. Just with our depth at outside linebacker and his ability to play inside and be an impact player inside. The great thing about Josh is, he's been very versatile, but he's also so unselfish. He knew a year ago, and even really going back 2 years ago, that we had some depth inside and not as much depth outside, and he wanted to help the team. Now he realizes there's some depth outside, and we need some impact players inside. And he's versatile, and really it's about him and his body, and what it just naturally does. And he's just a big human. He's a big person. And, you know, I think right now it's the best he's been about being big but comfortable. He doesn't have to worry about putting on weight. He still can be very quick twitch like he is and be an impact guy inside. So we're really excited about that. This is the best he's been in a few years, you know, because of the injury and the cancer and you know, the surgeries on his foot and all those things. This is the best he's looked. He's had a great winter. He's feeling good and moving around really good and really comfortable. So I'm excited for him, and naturally he'll help us.
As far as that filling that spot, you bring everybody back on the offensive line except for losing Stenberg, who's doing stuff at the combine. Do you move Fortner over to left, or how does that process?
No, we'll leave Fortner right now where he's at, and give that, you know, first shot to Horsey and see what he can do. You know, there's options. I mean, you know, you look at it and you look at, you know, the top five, and you know, if Nasir was completely healthy and you move Kennard inside, you want to talk about being big. You know, we would be very big and very good. However, we have confidence in some of these other guys, and Nasir's out right now. Darian's playing so good at tackle. You hate to mess with that because he's just playing such good football. But I do think he's bright enough to do it and athletic enough to do it and versatile enough to play either or. And I'm not saying we're going to do that, but they're just options. You know, right now, Darian's playing too good. Just leave him alone and continue to develop these other guys. So, you know, those are good issues. We really feel like there's some guys that could step up. And you know, Austin Dotson was hurt a bit last year during camp and then come back and hasn't been completely healthy. I'd like to see him go through a complete spring, see what he can do and see what Kenneth can do in there as well.
Is Quentin Wilson, can he do something?
Quentin is at center, and we love him there because he's athletic and has been very solid behind Drake, but you know, he is versatile enough to play as well.
Mark, what was the reason for Flax not being here? When you supposed to come in early?
He was supposed to come in early. There was a situation where he just came up a bit short, and he should be here in the spring.
Mark, with the NCAA moving closer to letting guys transfer immediately and not sit out, that seems to be a good sign for Joey, maybe being eligible in the fall. Does that change your approach with him at all, and what are your general feelings on that rule?
Yeah, I'd rather not comment on my general feelings about that, just because there's so many opinions out there. There's a lot of intelligent people that are working through those choices, and again, you've heard me say that before, but it's true. It's above my pay grade. There's people that'll look through that and weigh the options and the good and the bad with it, and there's a lot of things to consider, and a lot of good arguments both ways. So I'll keep my opinions to myself, but as far as him getting reps, he was going to get some anyway because of where we're at, you know, with the guys being injured. So for him, it's a good break in that we have two quarterbacks that can't go through spring. So he'll get more opportunity with that.
They're also thinking about changing the rules to where officials can call penalties 90 minutes before the game instead of 60 minutes. You think that has anything to do with football?
Probably. So I would support that, you know, and you know, but also we'll do our part also to make sure, you know, you kind of manage that. And you know, I'll just say this: leading up to that game, I was adamant. I was in the meeting the day before with all the official game folks that were putting the game on, and I was adamant about separating because I knew the build-up of the game, and so I was adamant about being separate and having stronger gates in between because the locker rooms were close and where we went in and out, and we were very organized on that and very much going to do our part. There is an issue when you get to a stadium two hours early, and some of our guys and our coaches are in our locker room, and we didn't manage that well enough, you know, with enough people. You know, so I need to do a better job with that as well. Just making sure we, you know, when we let our guys out and who's out there managing it and all those things. So we got to do our part, and our people here running our games will do that. And, you know, because when you're sitting there with the build-up for 3 weeks or whatever, and 1 week in a city, and things were going on, you know, I felt that, and we're trying to do everything we could to not let anything get out of hand. So, fortunately, wasn't too much.
Mark, you mentioned the outside linebackers, feeling good about those guys. Can you talk a little bit more about those guys, and specifically Xavier Peters was a guy that drew a lot of interest.
Yeah.
Last year didn't really get on the field a lot. How does he fit into that?
Yeah, I'm really excited about that group. You asked me about the group. I mean, Boogie coming back, I believe he leads the most experience as far as sacks coming back in the SEC with 6.5, and we have high expectations for Boogie. You know, he's did some very good things a year ago. I think a year ago maybe there was some frustration with him early, and then he kind of just settled in and listened to Coach White and really just kind of put his head down and went back to fundamentals and playing the game and enjoying it. I think he was putting a little pressure on himself early, but Boogie's a guy that has a lot of experience, played a lot of football for us, and he's one of our leaders, and really excited to have him back for his senior year. And Jordan Wright's another guy you've heard me talk about, really making big jumps. Made a big jump a year ago. We need him to continue to do that. He's kind of growing into his body. J.J. Weaver is a guy that we're very excited about. You know, just has the frame you're looking for. I mean, he is a big guy, and has the length you're looking for, putting on good weight, and really he's one of those guys that does everything you ask him to do, and it's getting better and better. Same with KD, much the same. I just talked about with JJ, his length, has athletic ability, has a good size. Sam Anali, the guy we came in at mid-year, and great big guy. Gonna take some time, you know, with him, but that's why he's here early and working hard. And Xavier, that's up to him. As I mentioned before, I don't want to get into specifics or try to throw him under the bus, but we have expectations here. We're going to do things a certain way. We're going to do things right, and that goes for him or anybody else. And when you reach those expectations and play to our standard and do the thing to our standard as far as going to school and tutors and workouts, and you can handle your business, then you'll have an opportunity to do it on the field. Until then, there won't be any, and that's again, I'm talking in general. So you could read between the lines or however you want to do it, but you know, he's doing some good things. He's doing better.
Mark, what's your feel for the one transfer rule?
Again, I'm going to hold that to myself, Lonnie, just strictly because there's so many people working on that right now, and so I mentioned that earlier, that you know, there's good arguments both ways, and there's a lot of intelligent people working through that and trying to make those decisions. So I really don't feel like getting caught, you know, one way or the other, making a comment on that.
Just in general, when you've got so many guys back who also haven't seen the field yet, what are your expectations, especially in that wide receiver room where you had brought in a lot of recruits last year, you spent your red shirt?
Yeah, I feel good about the overall depth. I mean, we have 111 guys here going through spring. We've never had that, and that goes to last year. What did we end up playing wise seniors? Maybe nine, maybe 9 guys, and we brought in 11 at mid-year. So you know, our team is full, which is good. You know, we still have 10 guys coming in. So we have great depth in the spring. You know, that excites me, because sometimes in the spring things get really watered down, and it's hard to, you know, really compete, you know, physically how you want to all the time. But we have a lot of good bodies in there, and got a lot of guys from experience. And as you mentioned, some inexperience, but that's every year. And let's go back 1 year to this press conference, you know, and that was quite different, you know, because all we were talking about was replacing guys, and how were we going to replace guys, and the sky was falling in. Everybody was panicked, and you know, that wasn't the case. As I mentioned, you know, when you continue to do things right, work hard, and build depth and develop your program, there's going to be guys step up. Who they are, we'll talk about it as we go through spring, and you'll see it. You guys will be in there watching some, and we'll see how it goes. But I hope some guys elevate.
One guy we haven't seen at all is Kellen Joseph. You got to watch him
Mhm.
practice some last year. What does he add to practice?
Yeah, he's a difference maker. He's he's physical. First thing that pops out to you, he's a big kid. Like he's like some of the corners we've been used to having, and he's got good size, and he's instinctual. He was on scout team. It's a lot easier to show flashes out there, when there's very little risk involved in giving up a big play. But no, you could see his athletic ability, and you saw it on tape when he was coming from LSU and the amount of plays he played as a true freshman. So we're excited.
Did you just
Mark,
start him
you
at
mentioned-
corner, or do you move him
I'm
around?
gonna start him at corner.
You mentioned Kenneth Forsey, and I'm wondering what it's been like for you all as a staff, as a team, as his extended family, given what he went through with his medical challenges, medical history. Now he's good to go, but what has it been like being a part of that? 'Cause
Well, that is something, because his health and safety is first and foremost, and our people do a wonderful job, and work extremely hard, and sometimes for us, as we go through evaluations and all that, we have to take that into consideration too, because he had his chest cracked open not long ago, and is getting back to full strength and able to train like he's training now, and move around. So first I would say, we're just grateful that he has the opportunity to be out there, and his doctors back home and our people here have done a wonderful job, and it's exciting to see him, and he'll have a great opportunity this spring.
Well, he's also mentioned the fact that you all haven't given up on him.
Well, that's what, we're never gonna do that. We're gonna give kids every opportunity, and that's what we're here for, to continue to help them in all areas of their life.
Mark, with all the success y'all had last year with Lynn, you come into this year wanting to maintain some of an expanded Wildcat package like you had last year, and is there somebody you have in mind who can do some of those things?
Well, you never know. You never know. A year ago, people were ready to put a bullet in me for the Wildcat. You never know. You adapt and overcome. That's what we constantly do, adapt and overcome, and we had to adapt to that situation, and we were able to overcome it to some extent, and we'll continue to do that, and I mean that seriously. Just do the best you can. We always have wrinkles, and we have some guys that are dual threat, so there's always some good things you can carry.
How do you expect or do you have an idea of how the scholarship situation might play out, or is it, do you have to go through this and see where things are in the spring?
Yeah, we'll see. It'd be a good opportunity for us to be at full strength. It's hard as people ask questions about transfer and all those things, and why I don't want to comment on it, because again, there are truthfully good arguments both ways. That's the truth. I'm not, that's just the honest to God truth. There are issues with roster management, and things of that nature as well. So there's a lot of things that we all go through as programs, as head coaches, that we have to do what's best for our program. I think, for us, we'll be one of the few schools that'll be at 85 scholarships next year, and we should be right at it. But we'll see how things go.
You don't have to name a specific guy, or if you want to, maybe somebody in the past, but what is that conversation like with a guy when he's on the fence, maybe wants to come back, but how does that conversation go?
Well, there's life happens. Guys are gonna go through issues, and we understand that completely. So all situations are different, and every individual, that conversation's different. There's different reasons. There's very good reasons with families and things that come up, and you'd be very wrong not to support those things. And then there's where the conflict comes in is because sometimes it's our job to hold people accountable and hold their feet to the fire and help them grow up. And unless all of you are perfect and got all the answers, that's difficult. I know it is with my own children, and I know it's difficult with 111 guys. But I think that's where the arguments on both sides come in. So there are, you know, it's all different. You know, there's very good reasons to have people transfer. We've taken in some very successful transfers. You know, Courtney Love is one of my all-time favorite guys. He's got a position that he is in right now that I probably would never hire somebody that young in, but he was prepared for it. And he was a transfer. So, I mean, you know, I feel like that worked out good. You know, we just took Joey, we take good transfers, and there's good reasons for some of our players to leave. So, it's a complex issue.
We haven't talked to you since Vince, that whole saga unfolded. What was going through your mind throughout that process, and how did you all ultimately come to reach a decision?
Well, first of all, it's played out too much in the media that I'd like to see. You know? So those are things that we need to handle. I have so much appreciation and gratitude to our administration, first and foremost, of giving me the ability. I've said that all along, you know, that you know, it takes great resources when you have good things in place, you know, whether it's from facilities and the investment that we've made there, whether it's in people, in retaining people. So I got to start with, you know, just thanking our president and Mitch. Mark Hill has done a great amount of work behind the scenes. That's my liaison to the administration, and they do a lot of work behind the scenes. So they made a lot of things happen and were very helpful. I think, you know, Vince, his attachment to this place, to our fan base, to our community, played a lot into it. I think our relationship had a lot to do with it. You know, again, but it starts with our administration stepping up and helping, because you know, that was very real, and those things are going to happen when you have good people. I'll say this, there was probably 5 or 6 other guys on our staff that I went through the same thing with, you know, that are getting pulled, and I appreciate the continuity that we have right now. And you know, we have some guys, some new guys, and I want to talk about Anwar, you know, bringing Anwar back, another Wildcat. I know Anwar. I had an opportunity to work with him as a student assistant. He had great experience through the CFL, but I loved his passion and his energy. And you know, so when we had that position come open, you know, that didn't take me long, you know, because I had, you know, really high, you know, feelings for Anwar and the ability that he can, you know, the job that he can do. So it was good to bring him back. So anyway, we have good continuity, great support from our administration. I feel really good about our staff. But yeah, me and the big dog, ultimately it came down over a drink and I had to break his arm. And then we had a deal, and then he changed the deal on me the next day. So,
Was it
Mark,
just
I know
saying
this may not be your bailiwick. However, this time of the year, especially this particular event here, there's this room is crawling with people. What do you think about the fact that it looks like you know, the crowd is not like it usually is? Is it complacency or what?
I don't know, Lonnie. You'll have to answer that for me. I'll leave that up to you. I just put my head down and go to work.
With the combine just passed, have you gotten many calls from NFL people about Lynn? And if you have, what's their most asked question about him?
Yeah, you know, but I don't think there's any doubt those guys representing us the right way. I just saw Logan and spent a lot of time with him this morning. I haven't seen Lynn yet. I think he's back. I saw his car. I gotta see him. He usually parks in my spot. I gotta catch up with Lynn, but there's a lot of interest in those guys and many of our other players. So I'm proud of them, and they're doing a great job, and looking forward to our pro day here. And I would imagine there's going to be a great turnout for our pro day here. The fact that Lynn didn't go through a lot of workouts there will help bring back a lot of guys as well.
You touched on being excited about the depth earlier. It seems like one of your favorite spots, the DBs, and back there, you got a ton of it.
A lot of guys back there, yeah.
What do you think about that group, and do you mix and match? Some guys try to cross train
Yeah, we'll just, yeah, I like that. I like the versatility, you know that. I mean, I like guys that can play multiple positions. I wanna get the best 4 on there, then the best 5, then the best 6, you know, and you need to play a lot of guys at that position. I mean, truthfully, I mean, if you could have 10 guys that are game ready, that's what it takes. You know, we rotate D-line, as you know, constantly, and outside backers, inside backers. You know, it's a physical game, and it's same with DBs. I mean, that's a high-paced game, and you know, so you need that depth. You know, that really helped us 2 years ago with the rotation that we had and the depth we had. This past year wasn't quite as deep, but I anticipate us getting back to that, having, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys that can play and play at a high level. So you know, there is good depth there. I was noticing that during our winter conditioning, and just seeing the guys that we have there, I'm excited about it.
With spring break kind of falls in the calendar this year, you got 2 weeks practice before it, how does that maybe affect what you all want to do leading up to that week?
It really won't. It won't. Our guys really don't get out of shape. They train all year round. We've had a good winter. It's tough. Coach Mark Hill, Corey Edmond, D-Mac, those guys, they bust them down there. They work hard, and they do a great job of training them the right way. And so we get out there, and then we have our winter conditioning, we have our change of direction stuff, kind of get them back a little bit in football shape, and we'll go 2 weeks and have a week off and come back, and we'll get them acclimated again because of the days that we have to have, whether it just be in helmets or shells, uppers. You know, we have a way to work them back into it. So we only practice 3 days a week here in the spring, so be a bit of a transition, but take a couple days just to get right back into it.
With TJ and Calvin gone up front, how beneficial is it to get a guy like Phil back with so much experience?
It was important to get Phil back, and you know it's going to be a lot of help for us, really. You know, then you move Josh back inside, and you feel like, you know, you're right back to where you were. We greatly appreciate those guys. We're going to miss them. Heck of players for us, but they played a lot of football for us. But it was good to get Phil back because he's a different type of inside guy, as I've mentioned before. He's got some size, but he's also kind of a loose player. He's twitchy. You know, he's different. Calvin is so big. TJ's so big, and you know, just talking with guys in the off season and looking at our defense. I mean, they were you know, asking me a lot of questions about our size, like, and how intentional we are to be like we are. And you know, so we got to get back and make sure this next recruiting cycle, we are so excited about the defensive players we recruited, but I want to go back and make sure we get some size with this group as well, length.
I think since you've been here, your
Since the day you
assistant.
got here, you talked about changing the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Your seniors know nothing but bowl games now. I know you're never satisfied, but do you feel the culture's changed?
Oh, I don't think there's any question. You know, it's always a work in progress, and we're constantly trying to evolve and do better things and do the best we can. But I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, it's just like the recruiting process. I mean, these guys got to go back. The guys we're recruiting are juniors in high school right now, and sophomores and freshmen. They don't know anything about Kentucky other than going to bowl games and winning the last 2 and playing exciting football. So that helps us. You know, but as I've mentioned before, you know, climate is easy to change. Culture is different, and culture is in our community that goes back 100 years. You know, but I don't want to hear any of that no more. You know what I mean? We're going forward, and we want to continue to push forward, and just say I do appreciate the support. I want to see it go to another level. You know, I really do. I ask the fans to continue to support us, to continue to buy season tickets, to make that investment. When I say it takes all of us, that please don't take it as a BS cliche. It's true. It takes a great investment by a lot of people to be consistently successful in the SEC, and that's what we want to do. So we need the fans. We need the people in the upper decks. We need the stadiums full, and we'll continue to take it to another level. I promise you, our coaches and our players are working hard. And we're proud of the work we've done. We know there's a lot more to do, and we're excited about that challenge. But I also kind of challenge other people to continue to invest in it, because we need it. It's, you know, you wanna continue to hold people like Vince Morrow and the great coaches that we have, and Brad White and Eddie Grant and all these guys, and it takes a great investment. And I appreciate what you do already, and ask for more.
Nick, last one.
He took care of
Okay,
it more
good.
than.
All right, there you go. I'll take it.
You wanna go?
Well, throw this in at the end. Are you kind of interested to see with the wide receiver group, now that you have a kind of a more traditional quarterback situation?
I don't think there's any doubt. You know, we need to continue to grow there and get better. And I'm gonna tell you this, you know, you go back and you watch so we had to do our cut-ups essentially through camp in the first 2 games, maybe 3 games. And then after that, we different team. And so you go back and look at that and what we were doing, and it's exciting. You know, when I was talking about that through last summer, through lead up of the season, and, you know, through the beginning part of the year, I mean, Terry was looking really good, and our receivers were looking really good, and we were getting better. And we had to change. We had to adapt and overcome, you know, so, but we changed, and we had to. But we were making good progress. You go back and look at that, who we wanna be, and that's exciting. But we definitely need that group to continue to work extremely hard and step up. And they are. Excited about it.
All right, folks, thank you.